Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. Welcome to English grade 11. I hope that you're doing well. Students, today we are going to cover our lecture number 1 from unit 3, and in the last lesson it was an introductory lecture where I told you about and introduced you with all these different kind of students learning outcomes. I hope that you have attended the lecture, you have watched it on YouTube as well, and now you're clear about the SLOs that are coming your way. So here for lecture number 1, we are going to deal with the competency of vocabulary. It means it is related to your understanding and to your word bank, to your understanding of different words in English in different scenarios, and also you will have a very good vocabulary for reading comprehension. So this SLO will lead us to have a better reading comprehension and it will make us better readers. So this students learning outcome says use context, and where can we see the context? The overall meaning of a sentence, paragraph or text, a word's position or function in a sentence. And we are going to use context as a clue or a hint to the meaning of a word or phrase which we are not familiar with. So in order to find definition or meaning of any unfamiliar, unusual, unknown word when we are reading, or any phrase that we come across or stumble upon while we are reading fiction or non-fiction, we come across all these different problems and hurdles. So how do we resolve it? Yes, there is a very interesting way of doing it without taking help from the dictionary over and again, just with your mind, with your understanding. You have to use the context, the surrounding of the text, different sentences, paragraphs, the whole scenario. When you see and read them, this is what we call the whole context. And we can use the context as a clue, as a hint, as help for finding out about something, any word or any phrase which we are not familiar with. So there are different kinds of context clues. We are going to see them. The SLO is very much clear. We will use context as a clue and to find the meaning of a word or a phrase. Now, here is the vertical linkage. This SLO of context was already added in our previous book of grade 10. So this is just to give you a fresh perspective that for grade 11, this is not something new that you're learning, and you have known it from the previous grade. Now, let's begin our lesson with this interesting brainstorming activity, because now I want you to think about a time when you came across a word or phrase in a text that you didn't know. So what did you do and how did you figure out its meaning? Yes, Ima, if you think of a time when you read in something and you come across such unknown word, what did you do? Yes, students, Zoom class. What did you do when you're reading something for understanding, for comprehension, in order to respond to the text? Obviously, you went straight up to the dictionary, or you searched it on Google, or you can do 2 or 3 different things from resources in order to understand the meaning of that particular word or phrase. You could have seen their Urdu meaning, or how the word or phrase is used in a sentence to give you a perspective about that understanding of that word or phrase. Yes, I know that you have done this, but now listen. We can do much more than that. We can find context clues in order to look for the meaning of the word. We cannot carry resources, materials, helping materials with ourselves like dictionary or a thesaurus or different helps. So we are going to use this technique of context clues in order to get to the right meaning and definition of a word or a phrase. So I hope that I have conveyed the learning outcomes importance to you. So think about it, that how would that be that you do not need dictionary? You can just use your vocabulary as a context, as a helping material with your understanding to understand any unfamiliar or unknown word. It sounds very unreal, but it is true. Let's see how we can do it. Now, students who have joined, who are listening on the YouTube channel, if you have any kind of experience like this, type in the comment below. Let me know about your strategies and techniques when you are actually stuck on any word or a phrase. What do you do and how do you figure out the meaning of any word or a phrase? Okay, let's talk about context clues now. Let's start our main lesson. Context clues are, students, they are basically hints that the author or the writer gives to help define a difficult or unusual word. Yes, the author or the writer has left some clues, some hints for you to figure out the meaning of any unusual word. The clue may appear within the same sentence as the word to which it refers, or it may follow in a preceding sentence. It means that you can find the hint, the clue, the context clue in the same sentence if you look closely, or you can also find it in the next sentence after that. Or maybe you can read the whole passage or the paragraph or the text and you can reach out to the meaning of that word. So, but mostly you can also find the context clue in the same sentence or in the next one, most probably. All right, so these are our context clues. They are helping us using the context in order to elevate our understanding of unfamiliar and unusual words. It's as simple as it looks. Now, there are some types of context clues, obviously, which we need to learn in order to have grip on all these hints and clues so that we can reach out to the meaning. Number one is synonym. Are you aware of what a synonym is? Yes. Lukman, do you know what is a synonym? Yes, Aima. Quickly, please. What is a synonym? Yes, Shabash. Very good. Okay, a synonym is a word for which we have another word and that means the same thing. It means that two different words, but they are having a same meaning. A synonym or word within the same meaning is used in the sentence to give you a hint or a context clue. Now, this is called synonym context clue, right? Let's look at this example. My opponent's argument is fallacious, misleading, plain wrong. Now, what is our unfamiliar and unknown word over here? The word which I have bolded, fallacious. Suppose that we have not heard this word before, and I know that many of you have not heard this word before. You are finding difficult just by looking at it that, oh, this looks such a tough word to understand. What are we supposed to do now? Yes, we have to read the sentence first. My opponent's argument is fallacious, misleading, plain wrong. Now, how can we find meaning of the word fallacious? Aima, what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to look at the synonym? Yes. This context clue is mentioned in the sentence itself if you look closely. Misleading, plain wrong, fallacious is the same as misleading, based on falsehood, which is based on a fallacy, a mistake, or a misleading thing. So it means that the writer of this sentence has given us the same, a different word with the same meaning. Now, misleading, this word is, we have heard this before, it is in our vocabulary, and we know that what is misleading? something that leads you from the right direction. It is misleading. So it means that misleading is also, you can say that fallacious is also a word like misleading. Is it a negative or a positive word? It's a negative connotation. Yes, this word has a negative connotation. Both these words. We know that misleading is a negative connotation. Fallacious will also be of negative connotation, and through the word misleading we can lead. Ironically, this word misleading will lead us to the right meaning of fallacious, which means something is wrong. The falsehood or some misleading thing is involved in the word fallacious. So it means that the writer is saying my opponent's argument, suppose they are in a speech, they are in a debate, actually they are in a debate, and the person is saying my opponent, the opponent person, the person who's on the opposite point of view or perspective, is fallacious. His arguments or her arguments, her arguments are fallacious, which means he or she is misleading you. He or she, the arguments are full of misleading statements, and it is full of incorrect, it is full of fallacies or ambiguities or problems. So we can see that now we know that the meaning of fallacious is something negative, something that leads you from the right direction to a wrong direction. So that's how we reach to the right meaning of the word fallacious using the synonym of fallacious, which is misleading. Plain wrong. And when something is misleading, it is wrong. It is leading you to the wrong direction. So again, you can see that the group of words, plain wrong, it is also telling you that the meaning of fallacious is something very mysterious, something is wrong here. It is a negative word. So that's how you find a context clue in this sentence, a context clue of the nature of synonym, and you find the right meaning of the word which was unknown to you a moment ago. Now, as opposed to synonym, you can also find antonyms as context clues in your sentences, in the sentences that you are reading. So what is an antonym? Yes, students.
Different meaning.
Yes, word having an opposite meaning to another word. Good. A word or group of words that has the opposite meaning reveals the meaning of an unknown term. Here, as a context clue, antonym will help us to reach to the right meaning of the word or phrase. Let's see. So, first, antonyms are words having opposite meanings. Although some men are loquacious, others hardly talk at all. So what did we say? It could be a word or group of words. Here we have group of words. Now, hardly talk at all. It means some people who are not talking. It's an antonym. How do we know it's an antonym? Because of the word although. Although, this will tell us that now some opposite thing is going to come over here. Others hardly talk. They say some men are loquacious. Loquacious. What do you mean by loquacious? And others, on the other hand, others are hardly talking. They are not very talkative. It means the word loquacious means somebody who talks so much. So this group of words lead us to the meaning of loquacious, right? Yes, Saima. Did you get the point?
Yes, sir.
See, this group of words, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words here. So it's a group of words. This is leading us to the right meaning of loquacious. It means that the opposite of not talking is talking more. So it means loquacious is an adjective. It is about somebody, some men who are talking so much. They are very talkative. So this leads us to the meaning of our difficult word location. Now it's not difficult anymore. We already know it. Now, what kind of context clue is this? How do we reach to the right meaning? By using the antonym clue. The antonym context clue. Explanation context clue. Now, we can also reach to the right meaning and figure out about the right meaning of any unfamiliar word using explanation that is there in the sentence itself, or it could be in the next sentence attached with it, the preceding one. The unknown word here is explained within the sentence or in a sentence immediately preceding. Let's look at this example. The patient is so somnolent that she requires medication to help her stay awake more than a short time. For more than a short time. So, do we know about the meaning of this word somnolent? No, we don't know that, right? Suppose we don't know. Now, how do we reach to the right meaning? What do you mean by the word somnolent? Should I open a dictionary? No, wait. No, just look at the context clue over here. The patient, the writer is talking about the patient. The patient is so somnolent that she requires medication. It means the patient is really sick. Medication is required for what? To help her stay awake for more than a short time. Just to make her awake, just to stay her awake, they have to give her medication. It means it means that somnolent is somebody who is not conscious. It is a word related to unconscious because the patient is sleeping all the time and is awake for a very short time. So this is a word, somnolent is a word for somebody who's awake for a very long time, who's conscious mentally. So that's how we reach to the right meaning. Somnolent means somebody who's active or who's awake for a little more time. Okay, so how did we reach over here? With this explanation, requires medication to help her stay awake for a more than a short time. All this explanation leads us to the meaning of somnolent or unfamiliar word. Now, example context clues. It means that we will be having some examples, and through those examples, we will reach to the right meaning and to the correct meaning of our unknown word. Specific examples are used to define the term. When you see different examples used in a sentence, and now they are going to lead you to the correct meaning of the word. For example, we have this sentence over here. I hope that you can see it on the screen. You can read it with me. Celestial bodies such as the sun, moon, and stars are governed by predictable laws. Now, celestial bodies. We know this is our difficult phrase, right? It's a group of two words. It's a phrase. Now, celestial bodies. We don't know. But such as is used for examples, right? The sun, moon, and stars are governed by predictable laws. So, what's the similarity between sun, star, and moon? They are up in the heavens, they are in the sky, right? So it means that they are celestial bodies. Celestial bodies are all those planets, the stars that we know that they are up in the heavens, in the sky, and like Jupiter, Mars, Venus, etc. So all these are categorized and they are called celestial bodies. So now when the celestial bodies, this phrase comes up, we know that it means different planets and heavenly bodies. Bodies, planets, the spherical round planets that are up in the heavens. So through these examples, the sun, moon, and stars, we reached to the right meaning of celestial bodies. And this is an example of context clues, right? So this is a context clue, example context clue. All right. Okay, now, students, there's a very quick way of memorizing all these different kind of context clues using this acronym IDEAS. Now, apart from all these mentioned over here, we also have another context clue, inference, which means that you have to read the whole thing and then infer and deduct the meaning of the word. So inference, definition, example, antonym, synonym, all these are your different types of context clues, and you can memorize them with the acronym, with the short form IDEAS. So inference, the meaning is not given, so you must use text clues. Now here we are going to use the textual clues. Don't want to work with Ricardo unless you want to hear him talk about himself. He's so arrogant. What do you mean by the word arrogant? Somebody who's self-obsessed and always talking about themselves. Okay, now let's look at this definition context clue. Ricardo is so arrogant, he thinks he's more important than anyone else. Now here, by this definition, thinking he is more arrogant, more important than everyone else, this is telling us that somebody who thinks that they know they know much more than others, they are called arrogant. So the definition that was in the preceding sentence over here, right after Ricardo is so arrogant, in this sentence you can find the definition of arrogant, and then the meaning is very much clear. Example clues, we have covered them. Antonym clues covered. Synonym context clues are also covered. So a little message over here written at the end. It's very important that strong readers will always read the sentences surrounding the unknown word to look for cues. It means that strong readers will always look for the context, and they are going to put their binoculars on, and they are going to see each and every kind of sentences surrounding the difficult word. They're going to be very much familiar with the context and the surrounding of the word. So inference, definition, examples, antonyms, and synonyms, these are your context clues. You can memorize them with the acronym IDEAS, and you can also add explanation clue as well, and you can make another acronym for your better understanding. Now let's put the theory into practice. Let's put our understanding and knowledge into test and see if we can do it. Number one is the debris on the stadium floor included numerous paper cups, ticket stubs, and cigarette butts. The underlined word referred to debris. S is silent, so we are not going to pronounce S over here. It's a silent letter. Now, debris. What do you mean by debris? Paper cups, ticket stubs, and cigarette butts. This is just garbage, trash, right? So what do you mean by debris? It is garbage. It can also be trash. Now, can you deduce meaning from the textual clues? The underlined word means. Now, what do you mean by the word deduce? Yes, the word deduce means infer. How do you get to the clue? How do you find the context clue over here? Can you deduce meaning from the textual clue? It means that you do not know the meaning. You have to look for the contextual clue, and this will tell us about the meaning and this will lead to the meaning. So deduce means to infer. And how do we reach to this context clue? How do we reach to the meaning? We reached it using inference context clue, where we read everything and just think about it for a moment, put our critical thinking on, and we reach to the meaning that deduce means to infer. And here debris means trash. Trash includes the paper cups, all the ticket stubs on the ground. People have thrown cigarette butts, they've finished their cigarettes and thrown on the ground. Now all this is trash, what we call in English. So the debris will mean trash. Now let's read this, students, and define the bolded words. Then we are going to identify which of the 4 types or 5 types of clues we have used. Number 1, the girl who used to be very vociferous doesn't talk much anymore. What do you mean by this word?
Talkative.
Yes. How do you reach to the meaning? Which context clue is used, Ima? Synonym, antonym, explanation, example. How? Yes.
No.
Antonym. Doesn't talk much anymore. Now she doesn't talk anymore means that she used to talk so much. She used to be somebody who was very talkative and who was a chatterbox, but now she's not anymore. So it means that this will lead us to the meaning of vociferous, which means talkative. Somebody who's a chatterbox, who's very much expressive and talkative, right? Are we clear about the meaning now? Yes, Ima? All right, next one is pedagogical institutions, including high schools, kindergartens, and colleges, require community support to function efficiently. What do you mean by the word pedagogical? Pedagogy is related to education. The educational institutes like high schools, kindergartens, colleges, community support require community support to function efficiently. So pedagogical word is related to educational institutes. Now, how did we reach to the meaning? With what context clue?
Synonym.
Example. See, all these are examples, right? High school, kindergarten, colleges. Do you get the point?
Yes, sir.
We reached through. There's no synonym. There's these examples. High school, kindergarten, colleges. That's how we reach to the meaning of pedagogical. Now, he was so parsimonious that he refused to give his own sons the few pennies they needed to buy pencils for school. It truly hurt him to part with his money. Parsimonious, what do you mean by this? How do we reach to the meaning? Which context clue are we looking for? There's no synonyms. There are no antonyms. We are going to reach it with explanation, right? How? He refused to give his own sons the few pennies. It means that parsimonious is a person who's very much who's miser. What we call in Urdu kanjoos. Who's not giving any money, not even to his own sons. So parsimonious is somebody who's holding his hand tight and not give even the basic amount of money or even few pennies they need to buy the most basic things like pencils for school, and it truly hurt him to part with his money. He is so much in love with his money that he don't want to lose even few pennies. So parsimonious means somebody who is a miser, kanjoos. His pertinacity or stubbornness is the cause of most of his trouble. Now, what context clue is available over here? Yes, Ima. Luqman. Zumeed.
Synonym.
Synonym. Yes, stubbornness. We know when somebody is stubborn, they are very, stubborn. Ziddi. So stubbornness is synonym of pertinacity, right? Okay. Next one is rather than be involved in clandestine meetings, they did everything quite openly. What do you mean by this word, clandestine? It means,
Secret.
yes, we will reach it to what context clue? Synonym, antonym, explanation, inference, or definition? Yes. Rather than be involved in clandestine or clandestine meetings, they did everything quite openly.
Antonym.
Yes, antonym. Clandestine means that
Secret.
privacy, secrecy, right? So it is somehow like the word secret or in a very closed environment because they did everything quite openly. So this whole group of words, this is telling us the meaning of clandestine or clandestine. So we used the what context clue? Yes, antonym. Okay. You're going to read this. You can take a screenshot if you like. If you're watching on YouTube, just click it and write the name of the context clue that helps to define the underlined words in the passage below. Read this passage over here. Highlight these words. Precocious, flabbergasted, dexterity, contentedly, Monet. So just read it and apply your knowledge of different context clues and find the meaning of these difficult words and also mention that what context clue you used in order to get to the right meaning. All right, so after this whole lesson, you can watch this additional video as a simulation link. It is shared with you so that you can learn much more and you can access the extra information. This is your worksheet where you have to circle the correct answer and to find out meaning from these given passages in the boxes and reach to the right meaning of the underlined words. All right. Thank you so much for listening, students. I hope that our students' learning outcome is very much clear now. The worksheet is attached for your better understanding. You have to solve it and share it in the WhatsApp group before the next lesson. And students, now we know that when we want to know the meaning of any word or phrase, we look for the context. We go for the context clues. There are different types of them, and that way you can reach out to the right meaning of the word or phrase. So any question? Now we are just going to wrap up our lesson. Aima, is everything clear? Do you have any confusion about any kind of any type of context clue?
No, sir. Clear.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you in the next video lesson, students. Take care of yourselves. Allah Hafiz.